So what I said to the guys this morning is in terms of long-term athlete development, and what we call in our programme, or what we promote to our players and parents, is our long-term plan. There's different phases which determine different ways in which our coaches work. Their practices are different. So in football, we got this from professional clubs. We went out and done visits. There's loads of stuff you can find on the internet as well. But they have three phases. They have a foundation phase, which is sort of 5 to 11. This is professional clubs, the FA, pretty much any football organisation will run in three phases. So there's the foundation phase, which is 5 to 11. There's a youth development phase, which is 12 to 16. And then there's what they call the professional development phase, which is 16 to 21. Foundation, youth development, professional development. So 5 to 11, 12 to 16, and 16 to 21. And in terms of what our focus is in the foundation phase, it is very much contact time with football. So our practices, our sessions, they call that period, if you like, the window of opportunity for training the brain, for training muscle memory. So we spend a lot of time giving kids football on their own, or at least they'll share a football between 2 people or 3 people, so their contact time is at a maximum, as many touches as we can give them. And we focus a lot on both sides, so we'll ask them to do something with the right foot, and we'll also ask them to mirror it, copy it with the left as well. Again, because of that window of opportunity to train the brain and train the muscle memory, we find that we're developing players now that are far more comfortable at using both sides of the body, different parts of the feet, the sole, the inside, the outside. They can use it in lots of different ways compared to what we've ever had before. And that is just because in that little period that we're spending a lot more time with them having a ball at their feet. The big focus on the ABCs, again, because of that, the muscle memory and the different types of football movements, agility, change of direction, doing it at speed, jumping, hopping, whatever it might be. But we always incorporate it into a football practice. Because of the period of time we have, we're not like a pro club where we get to focus a session on agility and then we'll see them again later on in the day and have a football practice. We're quite limited in our contact time, so we have to come up and devise ways of how can we work on their agility, but do it in a way where they also get to have some contact time on the football. But it's very much training is based around lots of time on the football in that window, 5 to 11. We obviously still play games, and even in matches, we play 5 aside, 6 aside, 7 aside. 11's playing 9 aside. There's always a structure to, the formation, positions, but we never signpost the kid a position and stick him there for all that period, because it's also a great time for them to be exposed to different positions. So for example, if I had a lad that we stuck in at the back all the time, all he would ever know and be comfortable with is having the game in front of him. As soon as he runs into an area where he's got lots of congestion and everything's going on around him, they get in a muddle. So we expose kids in this window as well to different positions. We don't stick them in one and they stay there. They get to rotate around, and that's important for the next phase. And even the phase beyond that. As a player, they all want to be a professional, or they all want to play at the highest level they possibly can. If they went to a club and said, I'm a centre back, or I'm a midfielder, and the club said, can you play left midfield today or left back? And they went, no, I don't know how to play there. Then they've got to be finding themselves on the bench and somebody else. But if they were like, yeah, I can play there, I'm comfortable there, I know how to play there, then there's going to be more opportunity for them to play. And I'm an example of that. When I played at the local club, I always played as a centre midfielder or a centre back, but I did get exposed to other positions. And to be honest, through coaching, I learned about other positions more than I did playing. But when it came to having an opportunity in a first team, I was, can you play right midfield today? If that's injured, can you go on? And I could go, I'll play there. Rather than, hang on, I don't really know what to do there, I don't know how to play there. So that we're exposing them to different sort of positions as well. In terms of the practices, again, because of the limited time we have to focus a lot on touches of the football, but we do also incorporate games that are fun and games that are very realistic, so always real to the game. And I'm sure you've seen people deliver sessions where they've stuck young kids in lines and they've made them pass the ball to and from each other, and we're trying to develop passing. And with young kids, it breaks down quite a lot. Mainly due to kids just not being comfortable, don't know how to control, or they're not comfortable with the ball at their feet. And whenever people say, we're not good at passing, we have to develop passing, so we're going to stand on these lines and I'll pass to you and you go around the back and you can't come around the back of me. I don't think that's how you should develop passing either. And I think one of the reasons why children aren't very good at a skill like that is not because they can't pass, it's because they don't understand when and where and how. I'm pretty sure we could get any level of kids from sort of 10 to 11 to 12 and they would be able to pass it comfortably over a certain distance because they should be fairly well coordinated and have good ball skills. So that's another element of the training where we focus a lot of our practices on being as close to a match as possible. So when they are passing, they're being put into sort of passing situations in a game where there's interference, defenders. So it's not just pass it to another player. And I think that's really, really important just to develop not just technically good players, but intelligent players as well, which is really important for the next phase, the 12 to 16, which everyone calls the youth development phase. And here the focus then switches a little bit more onto tactics. They then move into 11-a-side when they get to under 13. And we have a clear sort of progression to the shapes that we play as well in terms of 5-a-side, 7-a-side, 9-a-side, 11-a-side, so there's not too much confusion for the players when they move up to bigger pitches, a bigger format of the game. But in terms of the 12 to 16, we then talk a little bit more about what we do when we've got the ball. So it's more about team tactics. And in this scenario, what would you do? How would you deal with it if we were attacking, defending? And a lot of our practices, and even in this phase, we don't tend to really call them attacking and defending. They're more fun 1v1s. You can do possession games with young kids, but we do it in a different way. So by that I mean, if you put 7-8-year-old kids in a 8v8 game of possession or something like that, you would find loads and loads of turnovers of possession because they're not skilled enough to possess those types of passing and controlling techniques. But you can prepare them for it. So in the 5 to 11, we will spend a lot more time with them playing little 1v1 and 2v2 games. Because even when they're older and they do possession-based games, they will probably be put in scenarios in a game where they might be on their own and they might not have anybody to pass to. So how are they going to deal with it? Can they look after the ball until somebody becomes available? So possession games for us in that phase are a lot of 1v1 and 2v2. So they've got lots of chances to practice retaining the ball, shielding the ball, protecting the ball, beating somebody. If they are playing 2v2 and two defenders can't and they've got somebody free, they can start to learn when to pass it, when to hold on to it. So we still do things like possession games, but it's in a different way at a younger age group. But when they get older, it then becomes even closer to a game. So, 8v8s, like I said before. But a lot of the practices, there's always some form of attack, defending, or the transition in between. With the defenders and we've just won it, what do we do? With the attackers and we've just lost it, what do we do? So everything is realistic to the game. If we're working on defending, we might have a goal in a penalty area, or if we're working on shooting, we might have a goal in the penalty area. If we're working on the middle area, possession, we might just use the middle area of the pitch. If we're working on switching and width, we'd work on the whole width of the pitch. Just so that when we do our practices, when the kids go into a match, it looks really, really similar to what they were doing in training. A lot of people's practices work on something, but they don't add sort of the interference of defenders. They don't have the right size goals or area that it's going to be like on a football pitch, and it's sometimes quite difficult and hard for kids to then do what they've been practicing in training in a real game. And then the professional phase, I guess, is, it's, well, when guys have left us, so we don't really spend a lot of time in that, because post 16, they by then would have gone and joined a club. If they're lucky enough, they would join a professional academy. If they're still here at 16, pretty much all, not all of them, but most of them, would join a semi-professional club around here. You've got Kings Inn, you've got Swaffham, Fakenham, Downham, Wisbech, Dereham, that the guys tend to filter into and play their football. Some of the group in the morning session sort of mentioned about sort of testing and stuff like that, and that's not really anything we've gotten into. We have dabbled at it a little bit, and there was a while ago, and it came off the back of going to a visit to Colney many years ago, and they used to test their players for speed, power, agility, reactions, and quickness, called spark testing. I went to Colney and saw the Nike company came in to do all these tests: speed, how fast could you dash, had the gates out, power, had a map, when you jump, check the force of how powerful you were, a little agility, an hour run, again, time through gates to see how fast you could do it. And then Norwich uploaded their data, and it went on a format where any Premier League club could go and look at their under 12 and compare them to everyone else's under 12. And obviously that looked quite good, and we introduced it for about a year or so, but we quickly got rid of it because it just wasn't relevant to us. I can see how powerful the kid is and how good he is at the agility run and how quick his sprint is. But it's actually, he's the best at all of them, but he can't do it on the football pitch. It's a different kind of thing we are looking for. He might be quick, but this guy here reacts quicker than him. He's quick, but he's always there late. So what's going on? So that was pretty irrelevant, and we quickly got rid of the spark testing and decided, that it was just a waste of time for us. We could be doing more practices that developed things that we want to develop, technical players, intelligent players, and there was no real focus. That and other things as well. We did sort of investigate on social media, Google, internet, and all that, and there was quite a trend with, and I mentioned to DG, I don't know if anyone has seen a YouTube clip about the gold mine effect. Has anyone ever seen that before? It's about 15 minutes long, but it's a brilliant.
This is a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it on the loan.
It's a brilliant video to watch in terms of talent ID, where they say about people's backgrounds. Who would you pick up? Someone that's, I've mentioned that one to you before, someone that's never been coached, or someone who's spent a lot of years being coached and they're the same level. Who would you pick? But there's also an interesting bit on there about there's two world-class quarterbacks. Are they quarterbacks in the NFL? What are the names again? I keep forgetting what they are. Tom Brady, is it Brady?
Brady and
Right,
any NFL people in there help me out. Tom Brady and who was the other?
Dan Hardy.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning. Well, those two guys are probably renowned for being two of the best quarterbacks of our generation. Yeah, every year in America, like they do with all sports really, they have what they call a combine, where all of the best students from American colleges and universities attend this trial, if you like, and go through all of these tests to see how good they are. And in American football, I think it's called the Wonderlic test. A little bit of it is about intelligence, but then a lot of it is about power and how fast they can do things and how quick they can see things and stuff like that. And these two guys got probably, I think they're in the top 10% of the lowest scores in this test. And that is combined were not good enough. And didn't get selected. Yet they found another way and ended up being two of the best NFL quarterbacks in history. So there again was an example of it's brilliant seeing how powerful and quick people are, but that's not quite what we're looking for. That's not going to determine whether they can do it on the pitch or not. So we don't do any testing for partly down to that reason as well. We have a scheme of work. So for every age group, we have 48 sessions a season, and for every session there is a phase, if you like, and it's either defending or attacking. They're pretty much the only ones we do, but within each of those, we break it down into attacking when outnumbering the defenders, attacking when the same number as the defenders, and attacking when the defenders outnumber us. And it's the same when we're defending as well. So we break all of our practices down into, this is what we're looking to work on in this session, this is an outcome that we are trying to get to. And as for the individuals within the session, you're all at a different ability level, you're all playing roughly different positions, so then the actual kids within the session will be given individual outcomes as well as the team one. This is what we're going to try and look to get better at as a team. This is how you can help us, this is how you can help us, this is what we want to see you do. And that runs all the way through the season. And then once we've gone over the attacking and defending, we just revisit them again. Again, to keep them as close as possible to what a real game would look like, if we are doing defending, it always has an opportunity for the defenders to win the ball and attack another goal or attack a line. I said to the guys this morning, I've got my eldest boy is an under 8, and it frustrates the hell out of me when I go and watch his coach do his sessions, and I only turn up as a parent and I watch games. And they've got the biggest lad that plays at the back, because everyone struggles to get around him because he's powerful and strong. Whenever he does get it, he's always given a big clap and well done for getting it and booting it off the pitch or pumping it down the pitch, which is not the type of player or defender we want to see playing in our teams, in our England teams. So whenever we do practices, if you're a defender and you intercept or you win or you tackle or steal the ball, there's always a goal, there's an opportunity to win it and then counter and get to a line or score in their goal rather than just get it and kick it off the pitch. Because if we do that in training, that's all the kids are going to know to do in a game. Whereas this is what we want them to do in a game, so how can we get them to practice it more often in training? We want them to get better at defending, but then we want them to know what to do when they do win it. And can they then help us break and counter? So I don't know if anyone's got any questions so far on anything that I've mentioned or anything that I might have missed on the board. But that is how we try and differentiate the different phases. There's 3 of them, and how they look different, and how that 5 to 11 one is so important for developing your body, agility, balance, coordination, muscle memory, developing players that can use both sides of the body. So we have to really pay attention to how we do it. and how we can get the most out of them and develop them. That's where you see most improvements really in terms of technical skills. When they get to 12, 13, 14, if they can't pass the ball with the left foot, it's really difficult to teach them at that age because it's so important at this younger age. And by then, we're trying to move on from that and we're trying to introduce other important areas of their sort of football development. So that's how our programme works. I've been working on that for the last few seasons now. We're always evolving and changing and trying to keep up with how professional clubs are working. We adopt some of the things they do and we don't with others, and testing would be one of them. I know a lot of them still go through leap tests and fitness tests, and that's not quite what we want to do. I don't really ever see anyone doing sort of leap test running in a game, so I think that's irrelevant for our players, so it's something that we don't do. It's great for baseline fitness, but they can probably do that away from our sessions so we can focus on football when they come to us. Something from this morning?
Learning environment, guys. You have here, and then obviously wherever else you go as well. So it's just to use any of the classrooms for anything, or?
Oh yeah, well, older ones we do. We're starting to try and do more of. We're trying to record more games.
Yeah.
So I guess learning environment in terms of our sort of session delivery as well. I've sort of briefed how we'd lay it out and what the session would look like. A lot of realism to the game, a lot of contact on footballs. Very rarely is there standing in queues or doing line passing exercises that you just wouldn't see in a game. You always try and have some interference and make it real. And in terms of the way that the coaches deliver as well, it's changing. When I started coaching and when I was coached in my early days, I used to think that this was the right way because that's all I ever knew. There was a lot of command. Is there anyone here that's done like FA level 1s or whatever, any coaching courses? Not many of you? What do you think I mean by command style coaching? Yeah, well, it could be yelling. You don't have to yell to be a command style coach, but it is pretty much, I tell you exactly what I want you to do and where I want you to go. So from that I can get instant success. I can say to DG, go and stand on the touchline, open your body up, that's where I want you to go and this is why. And he'll do it straight away and it will work. Okay, what's the problem with that though? Yeah, so DG, for example, might not understand why he's gone there and took up that body position because I've told him what to do. So he might not understand why. So if he's not sure why, it's also difficult for me to understand if he knows why. So there's a lot of practices where we would use a lot of Q&A or guided discovery, where I'd probably say, can you show me a position where you can get on the ball and you can see the ball and you have a goal? And then I'll wait and see what that player does, see what position he takes up, wait until he shows me what I've asked him to do, and then I can work out whether, yeah, he's got it, brilliant, well done. I know that he's done that himself, he's made that move. I now know that he understands, or he might have gone and stood somewhere completely wrong. And again, I know he doesn't understand, so I can go and correct him. Or it might be I ask a question, so they might have to show me. I might just say, can you tell me a scenario when, you would do this and why, and get them to tell me. And again, brilliant, great answer. I know you understand, or, from his answer, I know that he's not quite sure of what I mean. So in our practices, there's a lot of ownership on the players having to, show, speak up, answer questions. A lot of trial and error. So back in the day when I first started coaching, we'd do practices where I'd have a defender there or a mannequin or something still, and we'd just go up and repeat the same skill. Make sure you step over here and off it this way, touch that way, off you go, go and do it, go and do it, go and do it. And then when it came to a game, it would always go wrong. But it's because they were always doing it against a still object, so they couldn't really work out the best time to do it. the right timing, how early, how late. So nowadays it's very much trial and error. 1v1, can you beat him and get over the line or something like that? And they just go and have lots of opportunities to practice it. And then themselves, they work out, I might do a step over this way, but somebody else might do a step over a different way. There's no right or wrong way to do one. So there's a lot of trial and error as well, where they get to learn from their mistakes. Mistakes are not feared anymore, whereas they used to be. As soon as somebody makes a mistake, it was like, stop there, and then get picked up on it and told off for it. That's not what we do it this way. Whereas it's very much now, kid makes a mistake, he knows he made a mistake, but if you can let him have another few goes at it, he tends to improve themselves. So there's a lot of trial and error, guided discovery, sort of Q&A. There is still some command, but nowhere near as much as what we used to do before. So the way that we coach is very much changed as well, just to help these learn. They might come into our program and I can tell them everything, but they might go and join another team, or I might move on to another program, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm not with them anymore. He used to tell me all my moves. So they need to be able to think for themselves and make their own decisions. It's a really important part all the way through the phases that we do.
With regards to the coaches, you've got their role skills and techniques of the coaches. So do you have sessions where you guys just reiterate that program? So like, I watch you guys do games, and you don't shout and scream at the kids at all. You just kind of let them make decisions, and then leave you half time for that. Is that something that has had to be practiced, or because there's always that temptation as a coach to want to get involved?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and you do get coaches come from different backgrounds, and the majority of the time, coaches coach probably how they remember being taught as kids. If they were a kid and all they ever did was get told where to be and get shouted at, that's generally then how they go on and coach. Unless they go on courses and they're interested to learn and improve. But yeah, we always get together and discuss, best practice. And so for example, in games, there won't be a lot of shouting and instruction. There'll be certain times we'll do it. Generally, when the ball's out of play, would be a time when we might shout instructions, because it's a distraction for the kids. If they're trying to close somebody down and they're getting instructions from, they've probably made their own mind up. Then also, again, if I tell him what to do, brilliant, he'll do it, but I'd rather wait and see what he does, and I can work out whether he is doing it the way that we work as a team. We save the feedback bits for when the ball's out of play, or when we have a break and play, a half time or a full time. Sometimes we will have things like little trigger words, so we'd shout out shape, and from our training sessions, the players would then understand what that one word means. So I haven't got to shout, you get in there, you get in there. I shout shape, and then regardless of what position they're in, they'll know, right, we haven't got the ball, we need to be a little bit tighter. What does that mean to me in my position? I'm a wide man, I'm too far away, I need to get close. So sometimes there's little trigger words that all the boys understand what that means. Depending irrelevant of what position they're playing in. So that covers that one there.
Any questions? I think it's pretty much covered everything we need on that. No? Okay. I think we're all done again now. Thank you very much. Very thorough and helpful. And what with, just, I don't know if it's worth just quickly explaining the Kings Lynn role, because you've linked up with Kings Lynn Football Club, haven't you now? So there's kind of like that further progression, just very briefly.
Yeah, we are. As of next season, we're just trying to push our programme further, if you like. So, from what I've explained to you guys and girls before, is that kids are sort of with us at 16, all the way up until 16, and they still play for grassroots teams. And what we are finding, what we've found, is that over the last few years, when boys have got probably as early as under 14s, under 15s, under 16s, numbers of teams in leagues have dropped a bit. That's partly down to going from 7-a-side to 9-a-side to 11-a-side. You go from 7 to 9, you're going around trying to find 4 or 5 new players. So what people tend to do is then go and ask him and him from that team, do you want to come and join our team? And then one team disappears. And then as you get to our 11-a-side, for that reason as well as others, you tend to get one of 2 teams out of maybe 8 that are really, really strong. And other than the game they play against each other, could be quite competitive, could be quite tight. Every other week they're playing in a game that's probably 10-0, 11-0, 12, sometimes even more. How challenging is that for these boys if they're winning comfortably every week? And then what happens is they go from 16 to 18, and under 16 they've had a really easy couple of years, and they go into under 18s, and now they're a 16-year-old playing with boys that are 2-3 years older than them, and all of a sudden it's like, Jesus, this is hard. These are quite strong, they're a few years older than me, this is tough. And we find some boys go, no, don't want to do that. So what we are doing now is our under 16s are going to go and play in a junior Premier League. Now Kingston Town being the local team, we did used to have a partnership with them many years ago. We've sort of teamed up. They have a first to reserves and an 18s. Generally over the course of the years we've had boys join the football club as well as others. People have gone to Swaffhams, Fakenhams, Downhams, Swiss Beaches, Derhams, other places. But they stay with us from 13, 14, 15, 16, and then they all venture off to different clubs. So what we are looking to try and do now is when they're under 16, they stay with us and they play in a really strong competitive league. A lot of the teams that play in the same level as Lynn First Team have their under 18s and 16s in this junior Premier League. So we're talking a little bit of travelling, but some really competitive football. And it's going to prepare them a lot better for under 18s and men's football. That's the plan anyway. And also the plan is to try and keep them together for longer. So rather than them disappear to 4 or 5 different clubs, we're going to try and keep them into the same one. Won't always work out, but that is a way that we have changed our programme this year to try and benefit the scheme, try and improve kids wanting to come in. Kids will now know that actually, look, if I go and join that development programme at under 12 and I'm there for under 13, 14, because in year 1 it's an under 16 in the league, and in year 2 we're looking to go 16, 15 and 14. But then kids will go, look, well, if I join that team and stay until I'm 16, then there's going to be quite a good chance that I can play at the Walks in a floodlit league, maybe Monday night, every Wednesday night, whatever it might be. But that's just the way that we are trying to evolve and improve our programme, and links with sort of progression routes, if you like. But it won't happen for everybody. There won't be enough room for everyone. We also have to consider that an under 16 lad trying to get into an under 18 team, there are boys that are a year, 2 years older than him, also trying to battle their way into this team. So it's not like it's one age group, so you can only join this team if you are 17, but you could be 15, 16, 17, or just turn 18. So it's quite a big, it's competitive, so there won't be enough room for everyone. So there will still be kids that will go out to other clubs as well.
Okay.
It's a move we're making.
All right, make sure you pop that in when you're doing your evaluations. I mean, particularly those of you that are involved in other local clubs. I'd be interested to see what your opinions are on that. Okay, or not. There may be or may not be. Okay, any questions for Dan before he goes? No? Again, thanks so much. That's really thorough. And, cheers for that.